if you're filming a private space, so if you are filming, well, initially if you're filming a public space, you can do, but you need to be willing to show that footage to whoever asks. You also need to comply with the Data Protection Act, which means that you need to be willing to delete that footage should they ask you to.
Hi guys, what's going on? It's Big Man Audits here, and today we're looking at Audit North, I think that's his name, Northern Audits, do apologise, and his little trip to Trillium Flow Technologies, and they're a company based in Elland, which is sort of a Halifax postcode. Let's see what happens.
Have a little look at Trillium Flow Technologies. This building looks huge if it's the one that extends as far back as I can see, and it sounds interesting as well. Flow Technologies, I mean, with the drone footage we might get some really good stuff, so I thought we'll have a little wander on and see. I can't see anything, any signs here saying unauthorised access and whatnot, so we'll have a little wander on, see what we can see, and then if we see anybody we'll just let them know about the drone, just in case they start to worry or anything. Just passing, so I thought I'd have a quick look.
Can't film here.
Can't film here? No. Why not?
We're asking you not to film.
Okay, so filming on private property, no, you cannot do it realistically without consent. Essentially, this guy should be throwing him off and saying this is now trespass. If you still refuse to leave, there is no time, of course, on when you leave. Then it becomes aggravated trespass, which is an arrestable offence. Always remember, guys and girls, trespass is a civil matter and something the police cannot do anything about.
Alright, but that's I just wanted to have a quick look, that's all. Can I go around and have a little look? Just before I go then, is that big steel bit there part of your building?
So I'm not at liberty to tell you that.
You're not at liberty to tell me? Okay. It's just that, right, okay, so...
I'd like to leave, please.
Whereabouts is your boundary? Where can I film from?
The highway.
The highway?
That's where the boundary is. Public highway.
Public highway over there, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, doke. Well, what I'll do then, I'll just let you know, when I saw this steel building here, I thought, I don't know if it's part of this part, but what it looks...
Filming now?
Yeah.
You mind not filming, please?
Why is that?
GDPR, I don't want to be on your camera. So.
Okay, so let's take a little look at the laws and legislations of GDPR. GDPR is a data processing protocol that all companies must abide by, including mine. Not this company, but another one. Okay, so I am responsible, being a data handler, for making sure that your personal data that I control doesn't fall into, you know, con men, you know, that sort of things. Government, I mean, there's con men, aren't they? So it doesn't fall into the wrong hands, essentially. But as an individual, I can't be held responsible for your obligations for GDPR. Okay, and you have no right to privacy in a public place, and this is technically a public place because he's got an implied right of access under Section 33 of the Criminal Justice Act. So let's see how he takes it.
Stop filming, please.
So GDPR?
Yeah, data protection. I am giving you consent to film. So I ask you to stop filming and leave, please.
But you don't have to give me consent, do you?
You do, yeah. Filming somebody without their consent under GDPR is against the law.
Bollocks. You know, as if you've seen my videos before, what a load of shit. Listen, Mr. Security Guy, you don't know what you're talking about, so instead of talking shit, shut up.
GDPR, does that not apply just to companies though? I thought that just applied to companies.
Would you like to stop filming, please?
Not really. I just came to get the beauty of the place, really. That's all. Just, you know. Well, is there anything you can tell me about the place at all?
Yeah, I can ask you for your name and address.
My name and address?
Yeah.
Can we have your name and address?
No, you don't need to. You're already filming when you shouldn't be.
What's your name and address? Oh man, right, okay then. Filming when I shouldn't be. Do you know what, we up to the boundary then? Whereabouts is it, sorry? The main road? Is it just this? Oh, there he goes. Just to let you know, I only want to let you know, I'm going to take a drone over to do some shots from the air. That's all. I'm going to take a drone over and.
You won't do.
So say that again.
So you won't be doing.
I won't take a drone over.
No, you haven't got permission.
Okay, I mean, you've probably heard me say this a million times before. You, my friend, and your company do not control the airspace. That's controlled by the Civil Aviation Authority. So you've lost again.
It's private property. You can't.
Do I have to get? Who can I get permission from to fly a drone over?
Stop filming, please.
I'll just ask that one last question because I am going to fly it over. It's just
I'll
that.
ask you to stop filming, please.
Right, okay then. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I am going to fly the drone over now. I'm going to just take off.
No, you're not.
Absolutely.
You're not allowed. There's overhead lines, power lines. It's against the law. You do that, we'll call the police.
Okay, so yes, as a pilot, we do have laws and registrations and legislations, etc., etc., okay? And you do have to be very aware. Now, we have an app, okay? For the guys who don't know, we have an app. It's called Drone Assist. It's free to you to download it here in the UK. Feel free to download it. And what that tells you is where the restrictions are. And there's several types of restrictions. There's absolute no-nos, which is always going to be around airports, important buildings, most of central London, that sort of thing. But also, there's sort of like a semi-restricted area. It's sort of a hazard area, which you can apply for authority to actually fly into. That is controlled by the Civil Aviation Authority, put my teeth back in, not by some douchebag standing here pointing up at the power lines. Yes, we're well aware of the power lines, and guess what? We don't want to crash into them.
You'll be arrested.
Oh, don't phone, please. Come on, that'd be silly, wouldn't it? I will be quick, I promise. I'll fly over, and you'll just see it go across a few times, and I won't be long, yeah? More or less immediately, a guy's coming out now. What we'll do is we'll have a quick chat to him. We are on public land now, so no recourse.
Can I see your licence?
See my drone licence?
Yeah. If you're flying it over our facility, I need to see your licence.
Okay, so, right. He does have no authority to see the licence. Okay, none. Literally none. The only person who can ask to see a licence is a police officer, and he has no authority. However, you do have to show him that they have an operator's ID on the actual device. And there's new legislation that I've been made aware of that's come into play that if an officer asks for identification on the owner of the drone, then I believe you do have to hand that over under the new drone legislation of 2022. So I will check that out, guys, and let you know, but I do believe that's the case. But you certainly don't need to show this clown your license, because this clown would not be willing to show Northern Audits his driver's license.
You don't need to see my license. Why would you need to see my license?
Property, and we've got intellectual property on that facility.
I'm about to take it over now.
You're not taking it over.
I'm definitely
the police.
Go phone, please. Come on, that's silly, isn't it? Just for a bit of drone footage.
Yeah.
Come on, don't be silly. Come on. Got two of them now.
Stop filming as well.
Come on, don't be.
Okay, so let's quickly assess the situation here. Moron boy in the white shirt is now on a public highway, on a public right of way, on a footpath or a public place, asking for him to stop recording. You have no right to privacy in a public place. If you want privacy, cover your face. Simple as that. Now, the guy on the right is now going to phone the police because he doesn't believe that the guy who's operating the drone or will be operating the drone has a pilot's license. You only need an operator's license for a sub 250 drone. More importantly, we have intellectual property. Now, let's kindly examine intellectual property. Intellectual property is digital property, essentially. And if you have intellectual property that you want to safeguard, you don't let it get seen from the air. Google Maps, helicopters, aircraft. Need I say more?
Like that, come on.
been asked politely 3 times.
You at 999 in that, are you? Oh, are you kidding? Ring 101, that'll take ages, 101, won't it? But so I'm going to take it off soon, but don't be like that, come on. Guys, I think he's phoning the police, that's crazy.
Filming with a drone. He's got no drone license.
So he doesn't know he's got no drone license.
I've
He's
got
just
no drone
assuming.
license.
What do they say about assumption being
This
the mother of?
guy is like funny, isn't he?
He's actually filming us. It's Hotel X-Ray 5. 9 Juliet Road.
Okay, so Hotel X-Ray 5, 9 Juliet Road. Guys, if you didn't know,
Now we've got the truck coming out as well, look. We've got the airlock.
He's just pulled up on a push bike or whatever and he's stood at our facility.
Let's see if the police set this guy straight. I think the police are going to tell him to go back to work. So, get back inside your property and go back to work. That's what they're going to tell him.
sorry about drinking, guys. It's just part of nature.
Lamppost, our security guard is doing stop filming, you won't film. So I'm
We've got them all out here. We've got some other people by the security hut as well. Quite a bit of a response here, haven't we, for a little drone? It's only a little drone, guys.
Yeah, I fast forwarded it a bit.
Right, sounds like he's had his advice now. Probably be popping off back into work. There he goes. And there he goes. When they've got back inside, we'll take the drone.
Police are on the way.
Police are on the way. Oh no, that's crazy. Right, I better be quick with this drone then, aren't I, if they're going to come and get me. Oh man. Well, what a response that was. This is Trillium. Or Trillium. Okay. Guys, just as a thing, we've literally just got here now.
Yeah.
The
Do you
police
know
have just
the
turned up.
regulations to do with? Do you know the rules and regulations to do with filming?
Okay, before we get into it, I'm going to say one thing. Boing, 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 boing. Okay, 2 police constables or special police constables or PCSOs. Whatever you want to call it. Not full gutted police officers. You know, police community support officers. Wannabes. And I love the way the guy is going to sit here and lecture you. Listen to this.
Cameras.
Do I know what's the rules and
The rules and
regulations?
regulations to do with filming.
Filming?
Yes. Is what I believe you've been
That's what I'm doing now, so obviously. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know them?
Do I know them? Of course I do. Of course I do, yeah.
Okay, do you want to tell me then what you've been doing?
I'm not going to tell you anything that I don't need to tell you.
Right. Okay.
You just come here and just accosted me for nothing. We've got guys out there shouting through, he needs to delete that footage.
Yes.
I need to delete my footage.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
There are basically 3 rules with filming. Very similar to the use of CCTV. Yeah?
Here we go, come on. Explain.
If you're filming yourself, you can do what you like.
Ooh, yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, you're filming me, you can do what you like, I don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
More than welcome to. Okay?
Yeah.
If you're filming a private space, so if you are filming, well, initially if you're filming a public
Okay, so the guy hasn't got a clue what he's talking about.
space, you can do, but you need to be willing to show that footage to whoever asks.
Okay, so let's break this down for you. Public photography is not a crime, okay? You do not have to show your footage to anybody unless you're suspected of terrorism under Section 43 of the Terrorism Act of 2000. Even then, you know, you can actually refuse to provide that and it can be seized and can only be seized by a police officer, not a bouncing PCSO.
You also need to comply with the Data Protection Act.
As we've also been highlighting, the Data Protection Act only applies to companies. That's 2 out of 3 incorrect.
Which means that you need to be willing to delete that footage should they ask you to.
And 3 out of 3, all incorrect. Okay, so not even a police officer can force you to delete footage. The only way that the footage can be deleted is under the direction of a judge after a court case. Okay, so nobody can delete footage. He can't delete footage, Mr. Bounce Bounce. The police officers can't delete footage. The security guard can't delete footage. In fact, other than a court order, which would never happen in this particular case, the only person who can delete footage is Mr. Northern Audits.
Yes?
No, yeah, you've got that all wrong, honestly.
No, I haven't.
Of course you have.
No, I haven't, because it's
It was covered by data protection, right? Can I just explain that? I'll tell you that. I'll let you on.
Yeah,
I'll let you know then. Yeah.
Go on then.
Data protection only applies to businesses. It doesn't apply to individuals. There you go. Look, that's your first mistake. Yeah.
No, it does apply to individuals. And if you're saying it only applies to business, that's a business, and they've asked you to delete it.
No,
Okay, so he's completely wrong. Mr. PCSO, completely wrong. What I do take interest here is the lady PCSO is being very wise and saying nothing, because I don't think she's actually sure this guy knows what he's talking about. This comes down to something my mum used to say to me many years ago. Just a little bit of knowledge can be dangerous. And this clown has got just that little bit.
I'm not a business though, so I don't have to delete it.
Right, you do.
You're talking rubbish on camera.
You to.
You're talking rubbish on camera.
Bullshit alert.
Otherwise, no, I'm not talking rubbish, because otherwise, what you're doing is surveillance. Have you got a ripper? Have you applied for a ripper?
Okay, so he's talking about surveillance of criminal activity. He's talking about where you're peeking into potential personal areas, and which is what a ripper is. Okay, so this is something that if you wanted to go into private eye or private investigations and things like that, you would have to apply for that. So basically you would have a criminal background check to check that you're not a criminal, that you're not a terrorist, and that what you're actually doing is covert surveillance. Covert, there's a kind of the clue. This is over. He's out in the middle of the open. Really?
Do you know what a ripper is?
A what, sorry?
A ripper.
What's a ripper?
A ripper.
No.
A ripper is the paperwork to allow you to do surveillance, which is what you're doing with that.
I'm not doing surveillance. That's today. I'm doing aerial photography.
Yeah, which is surveillance. Form of surveillance.
Can you identify yourself, please? Because you just walked up to me. And yourself, lady. Thank you very much.
Okay. So what you are doing is surveillance. You've just said you're taking photographs. Yeah?
I haven't said that. I've not confirmed anything.
Right, that's a form of surveillance. You're telling me that you're filming, that you've filmed over there.
Okay, let's take a hypothetical situation. The king is being coronated on May of this year. There's going to be millions of people in the centre of London. He's going to pass in a golden carriage, or perhaps a Rolls Royce, and they're going to have their cameras and they're all going to be filming him backwards and forwards throughout the whole day. Fucking hell, there's going to be a lot of people in prison or in a jail cell because it's surveillance.
That is a company. They've asked us to delete the footage of what you're filming there, of what you filmed there. Are you refusing to do so?
Well, obviously, there's nobody. I'll tell you what. I'll let you know. Right. I'll let you know the law, that. Yeah.
Right.
Only a court can make me delete that footage.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go. So you can't delete it. You can't ask me to. Right. Well, you can ask me to about that.
There is a government ombudsman that deals with footage like that.
Lovely.
Okay.
Yeah.
They can take you to court, certainly.
Good. Yeah.
And they will prosecute you, and they will fine you.
Oh, will they? What's the name of them?
And it is hundreds of thousands of pounds, because it's the same rules and regulations that we use for surveillance.
All I would say is, good luck trying to get £100,000 out of me. I literally haven't got £100,000. If you don't pay that, then it's potentially a prison sentence, then, isn't it? Ooh.
This guy knows absolutely fuck all. Really does. I'm sorry, guys. I don't normally swear on these things, but sometimes people's stupidity, and more enough, people's bullshit that they come out with. This guy, okay, this guy is making it up as he goes along. He was probably bullied a lot as a kid, and he's now trying to insert his authority over the Northern Audits. It's just not going to cut it. It really isn't. What mysterious ombudsman is there in the sky that's going to come in there and seize his camera, delete the footage, charge him for not deleting the footage, fine him 100,000 and throw him in prison. Real? I think you've been watching too many James Bond movies.
In prison? God, I don't want to get in prison.
Well, I'm asking you nicely, will you delete the footage that you filmed over there?
You can ask, can't you?
I can ask. Will now.
I've not confirmed or denied whether I'm going to delete the footage.
Will you delete the footage? Please.
What would you do if I don't delete the footage? I'm going back over in a minute. The drone's going back up in a minute.
Right. Okay, well, potentially we can get officers here to arrest you and take you away.
Go on then.
Arrest me for what? What? Listen,
Right,
what law?
breach of data protection.
Oh no. Okay, well, fucking moron. I'm saying nothing. Northern can handle it.
That's not. You're under arrest for breach of data protection.
Right.
Yeah. You don't have to say anything when questioned. Don't you?
Yeah.
Under arrest for data protection. Oh my God. Come on. What are them pink things on top of your radio? Anyway, I'm really interested in
grateful that
that.
they're volunteers because he hasn't got a clue.
It's just an identifying marker.
Nice. I'm really interested.
Yeah, Charlie, that's great. So I'm with the gentleman here now up on Huddersfield Road. I've spoken to him. I've explained the Data Protection Act and I've asked him to show the footage, he's refused. I've asked him to delete the footage, he's refused. Is there an officer that can come and deal with this, please?
Nice. This officer will come out and he'll say, let him do it. Because I'm gonna fly over again in a minute, honestly. I'm going to take that drone up, fly over again, because I haven't finished the footage. I only stopped because you guys turned up.
Well, why are you filming? Why are you filming them in particular? Can I ask, please?
Coming past, saw it, thought it'd be a really interesting building.
Right. And they've come out and asked you not to film?
Yep.
And why have you then carried on?
Because I wanted to.
Right, because you wanted to.
Yeah, that's right.
So not because of any other reason than you just being deliberately obtuse?
No, I'm not being deliberately obtuse.
But you are.
I'm not being deliberately obtuse at all.
Well, I've explained to you the rules and regulations and how it works.
Well, I'm going to explain to you that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. If Northern Audits wanted to be obtuse, he doesn't even have to speak to these clowns. But he doesn't. He could just say, I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm going to carry about my lawful business. But that wouldn't make good YouTube videos.
And what's expected of you, and the fact that you have responsibilities as someone who is filming, and you're refusing to abide by those.
I don't have to abide by those. Can I just say, you're talking nonsense. You really are talking nonsense. When the actual police officer gets here, if I bother waiting for him, I might just get the footage now and drive off on my bike.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I might just do that, but we'll see anyway. I'll tell you what, we'll wait for the officer to come, and he will tell you you're talking absolute nonsense. You'll just walk off like, and that'll be it. Get in your car and go.
Just up past the tip on Huddersfield Road.
Yeah, the tip on Huddersfield Road.
Dylan's been filming. He's been asked to delete the footage. He's refusing to do so. Directly over Trillium, which is the company, as you come up past the tip, is the company there on the right hand side. Yep, so it's mainly going to be a court case between them and him as far as the footage getting it deleted, yeah.
And they don't know who I am, so there you go. Told you were talking nonsense. This lady here is quite smart. She's really smart. Because she stood there, she hasn't said a word. She probably knows.
Yeah, not a problem. Well, I've explained to the gentleman about how it works with, as far as him actually kind of filming and how it's impeding on other people's privacy, and how they've asked him to delete it, and that is technically an offence that he's committed there.
Okay, what's technically an offence? Mr. PCSO, you know fuck all. Literally, they only tell you what you think you want to know. You can't say it's an offence because it isn't an offence. Public photography is not a crime. Just as much as being a dickhead in a uniform is not a crime.
Technically an offence that I committed. This guy.
Yeah. So there we go, sir.
Technically an offence.
But it is. It is.
Are you going to go now so I can finish my drone footage?
No, I'm not.
You're not going to go?
No, I'm not. No. You seem to be enjoying filming me, so.
This is crazy. So, are you going to waste police time just by standing here?
Yeah. Yeah, because you're intent on doing that, so.
I'm not intent on wasting police time. I'd like you to go so I can finish my drone footage.
Well, I've asked you to delete the footage, I've asked you to show me the footage, you refuse both.
Yeah, because I don't really want to.
Right. And you've not even explained yourself as to why you don't want to.
I just don't feel like it.
Don't feel like it.
Yeah. What did you have for breakfast this morning? Why did you have it? You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. And as I say, you know, you don't feel like it. You're being completely obstructive. You know, I've been completely reasonable with you. I've spoken to you.
Can I just explain to the situation, right, from a high level point of view, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So go on then.
I'm stood in a public place.
Yep.
This is a public place. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm filming from a public place. I'm flying my drone from a public place. I'm abiding by all the drone laws.
Right.
I'm abiding by all the filming laws.
Right.
You guys have come here telling me I'm committing an offence.
Yep.
And now you stood there and you won't leave.
Right.
And you've admitted that you're going to stand here wasting police time.
Right. Okay.
Crazy. We're in a really crazy situation here.
Okay. I understand what you're doing. I understand why you're here doing that. I understand that you're doing this basically to get us one side of us.
No, I didn't call you, did
He's
I?
already got one.
I didn't want you to attend,
Well,
to be
I've
honest
been
with you.
perfectly reasonable with you. I've asked to see the footage. Why aren't you going to show me the footage?
Now that's interesting. He hasn't asked to see the footage once. This is the first time he's actually ever mentioned it. So I know that sometimes police get forgetful minds, or certainly police community support officers, but now you're making it up on the spot. So if you are going to step in to be a PCSO, be like the young lady on the left of the screen. She's keeping very quiet. She's just observing. She's not jumping in claiming she knows. She's actually being a good PCSO. So you've got the sort of Jekyll and Hyde here. Or the good, the bad, and the police car in the middle, and the ugly on the right.
I don't have to. I don't have to and I don't want to.
Right.
I've got more footage to get yet. You know what I mean? I've literally got... I'm running out of time to get all this droned over. I've got some other places I need to get to.
As far as it goes with privacy laws and rules and regulations, if you filmed somebody and somebody asks you to then delete it, you have to be willing to at least show them with it and explain why you're not going to delete it.
No, you don't.
And explain to someone in authority.
Under what law?
And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. A PCSO who doesn't know what he's talking about.
That ends the conversation, doesn't it, really? Under what law? If you explain to me the laws that require me to do something, if you explain to me the law that requires me to do something, I will do it. But I know the law, so...
It's quite interesting
This
how
guy's
you can
back
see the
again
female
now.
PCSO disappear.
With the lady. Trying to get me into more trouble, probably. Look, he said, it's filming. She's been filming. No property. This is a bit more interesting now, but thank you for your attempt to explain it.
I thought you were going to stay and talk to my colleague when he gets here anyway.
I'm going to stay and talk to your colleague, yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Because your colleague, right, has no power over me unless I'm committing a crime.
Right.
That's true. Like, he has no jurisdiction over me. Oh, hey up, there we go. I'm fan as well.
A police officer, a real one.
What law are you going to arrest me under here? You've got to be really careful. This guy will probably know a bit more about it. Well, hopefully this guy will be a bit more reasonable.
I've been perfectly reasonable.
Hi there, how are you doing, mate? I'm hoping you'll be a little bit more reasonable than these guys. These guys try... It's just to see some footage. Yeah, just stand back a bit. We've got office 2566. Yeah, just stand back a little bit because I don't want to get too close, you know, COVID and whatnot, yeah. Yeah. I'm just hoping you'll be a little bit more reasonable than these two, you see, because it's coming down. Yeah. Oh, good.
In terms of drones, sir,
Are you registered with it?
I've got an operator ID, that's all I need. It's sub 250.
That's the next question. It's 250 drone.
Sub 250 drone, yeah.
Tell me where you fly it today. Where are you flying it?
Okay, so before we go on any further, the officer's come in. He's acted very professionally, very, very good. He knows what he's talking about. You know, he knows the sub 250 doesn't require a pilot's ID or flyer ID, sorry, and an operator's ID is fine. He's correctly identified himself, and he's told Northern Audits that he's turned his camera on. So far, so good.
Where have I flown this?
Yeah.
I'd rather not say.
Right. Have you flown over the factory?
I'd rather not say, but I plan to. Yeah.
Right. Do you have permission to fly over there with it being private property?
What permission? This is what I've just been through with these guys. What permission do I need?
It's classed as private property there, so classed as trespass.
It's not classed as trespass. It's if it is classed as a trespass, if I was flying low or causing a nuisance, that would be a civil trespass.
It is a civil matter, you're right.
That would be a civil trespass, so I don't know why you guys would be getting involved. But if I fly it high, it's not classed as a trespass. You know, if an helicopter flies over, you don't class it as a trespass, do you?
I don't think there's any sort of minimum horizontal distance anywhere with drones anymore. I think.
Okay, so he's wrong. Okay, now it's not. I'm not going to have too much of a go at the police officer here. They're not expected to know everything. They're not going to be expected to know every bit of law. But if they show reason, so let's look at the trespass law. This is more about feet on the ground. If I was to pass into the building and I was to ignore the guy and say no. What are you doing? I don't want to talk to you. I'm going up to the reception, blah, 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 and walk on. And they told me to get off. That's trespass, right? And that is civil. So they would have to then get a court order and all the rest of it and take a private prosecution, blah, blah, blah. Now, with a drone, I guess you could probably, if the drone's you're flying it at head height or just above head height, you can probably argue you're trespassing onto the land. However, if your drone is 50 feet in the air, it can hardly be considered trespass. You're not actually anywhere near the ground. You can film from space. If you look at how Google Maps operates, you can zoom right the way in and in a lot of cases actually identify a car, which is really, really good on their optical systems. So let's go back and hear some more.
Changed
exactly.
You probably know more than I do, to be honest.
Yeah, I reckon I probably do. So yeah. That's why I'm still here. Because let me just tell you this, right? I'm not stupid, right? If I were committing a crime, yeah, I would have been on my toes now on that little bike, and nobody would have caught me. But I'm not committing a crime. That's why I'm still standing here. I just want to prove to everybody that I'm,
I don't think you have committed a crime.
Excellent.
You should be in handcuffs.
Exactly.
However, I've got to try and work with you.
Yeah, you can
so
try
in
and
terms
work.
of when you fly the drone in public, like you're doing now, you can film anywhere.
Yeah.
Nobody can stop you.
Yeah.
It's hard to film what you want, which isn't an issue. However, once you cross over the border into sort of where factories are, it's private property, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's no.
How would you feel if somebody encroached into your private home and started filming you?
Yeah, that's different. Yeah.
Okay. So let's break that down. Northern Audits is just about to explain why. So, if I was flying my drone and I was flying over someone's home and I was staring down and looking through their window. There's a whole heap of difference between that. That could be considered trespass, and it could be considered as harassment, which was causing alarm and distress. And that is what that would be. However, you have no right of privacy in a public place, but also if your company has CCTV, you've no right of privacy there either. So, and also if you're outside of a outside of a private building such as the building behind him, then you've really got no right to privacy either from the eye in the sky. So any aircraft, any police, lawful, sort of military, all that sort of nonsense, any aircraft that can see you from the sky, satellites that are monitoring what's going on, the Google satellite, for example, if the Google car drives by, it will see everything. There really is no argument here.
That's residential, so if you fly over somebody's residential house and you're like looking in the windows or something, that's covered under privacy laws. But if you're flying over like a business or something like that, just getting some aerial footage and whatnot, there's no.
You're supposed to seek authority from them first, really, because it's their private property.
But that's an opinion. That's not a fact.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's a fact. It's private property.
No, he's totally wrong. It doesn't matter from the air. Okay, it really doesn't matter, because if that was the case, then helicopters would have to fly with blacked out windows.
No, because, well, I'll tell you what then.
It is a civil matter, and it is trespass.
I'll tell you what, as soon as you've been so nice to me when you come over, kept your distance or whatever, I'll let you know, because I know a bit more about you than the drone laws, yeah? Basically, I can fly over there with this sub-250 drone, I can fly over the private property, and that's because they do not control the airspace or own the airspace. The Civil Aviation Authority controls and owns the airspace, and there are no, I checked before I launched, there are no controls in place over there, over this airspace here.
Right.
So for instance, prisons and airports, there are controls in place. Yeah, so you can't fly over them because the Civil Aviation Authority says you can't, and it's actually a crime to do that.
Okay, so I'm going to interject here because Northern Audits isn't quite right. Airports, yes. Prisons, no. So prisons have restricted airspace. I think it's up to 160 feet. However, our drones will fly up to 400 feet. So technically, you can fly over them at that height. I would never ever recommend it, guys and girls, ever. Don't do it because you're going to cause absolute havoc for the prisons inside. They'll put them all into lockdown. And the other thing is our DJI drones, which is what these are, and on the Drone Assist app and on the actual app itself that we use to fly the drones, it won't even let you fly at 400 feet and then over the top, right? So it just makes sense to stay away from them, although technically that is incorrect what's just been said.
Whereas the airspace over this facility here, it's not owned by this facility. They can't tell me whether or not I can fly something over or not. It's literally owned and controlled by the Civil Aviation Authority, and there's no controls in place.
To prevent any issues, have you finished for today?
Nearly. I have got a little bit more. When these two arrived, I had to stop filming because I just wanted to have a quick chat with them just to make sure they weren't going to jump me out.
I don't really know that.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I just thought I'd just.
Right, we're not those type of people.
Yeah, good. That's really good.
You've got a job to do. If somebody raises concerns, we're not going to speak to him.
Absolutely, yeah. What you'd be best off doing, just nipping in and just telling him what he's doing is completely legal. That's what I would tell him. I would literally, that would be your job today. You'd literally just go in and just say, look, I know you might not like it, but what he's doing is completely legal. We haven't got any jurisdiction. The guy's not committed a crime, so we don't have any power over him. Basically, I know. Yeah.
I say I've not got an issue with you.
Yeah.
The only issue comes when you're flying it low, whatever else.
Yeah.
As far as I understood it, if it's private property, you're not allowed to fly over unless you've got permission.
Yeah, I think we've got a bit of a better attitude than these two PCSOs. Are these PCSOs here? I think. I think they're just.
And I would totally agree with Northern Audits. You can't expect the police officers to fully understand what goes on with the footage and the drones and the private areas, etc., etc. As a drone pilot myself, and as Northern Audits is, and DJ Audits, PJ Audits, and News Now Yorkshire, and all these other guys, we really do and are sensitive to privacy. You won't often find any one of these guys who does audits going into police stations and recording people who are in crisis. That's not what this is about. This is to measure the response about what we get. And I would actually like to commend this officer. He's been very pleasant, very polite, not bullish. He was trying to explain how he understood it. He's not claiming he knows. And, you know, quite frankly, this has been quite a pleasant exchange. Not like the first clown.
I don't know, telling me things about things that I can or can't do.
I'll suggest in the future, if you are going to look at doing stuff like this, that's an issue with it. When you speak to the people first, it avoids an issue, doesn't it?
I did, and I think.
Did you speak to from
the guy that just came out? Basically, what I did is.
Spoke to him beforehand, or?
Yeah, I spoke to him before I took off. So I went. I literally parked up, got my bike parked up, filmed the sign over there. He came out. The other guy, another guy came out. That guy came out with him, straight over to me. What are you doing? What are you doing? I said, I'm filming. He said, you can't film. I said, I can. So anyway, what I did is I came off onto the public land, took my drone off. He says, I've come over, I've caught police. I says, oh, you haven't wasted police time, have you? In 999, he were on phone 999 for 5 minutes.
A lot of people get upset by it.
I know, but that doesn't mean you can.
It definitely sounds for a lot of people it is an invasion of privacy, isn't it? Because they're doing the job, they don't want to be bothered by stuff like that.
Well, yeah, that's their opinion, isn't it? That's their feeling as well, isn't it? So it's just it depends what you can do under law, doesn't it? Basically, I follow the law.
So if they want to pursue you for a civil side of it, for trespass or whatever else, I don't know where you've been before we got here. I'll advise them they can do whatever. So, as far as criminal offences, I can't see any, so you won't be.
convicted or arrested by us or anything.
Oh, that's
All I'm trying
excellent.
to do was speak to you, just say, look, avoid issues, like speak to people first.
Excellent, yeah,
Not upsetting them and causing issues when we get called.
Excellent. Well, it looks like you've diffused the situation here, the police situation. You're getting a little bit. I was getting a little bit worried that you were when you came in van as well, because when they come in car, it's not so bad, but when you pull up in a van, that means you know, you've a potential to be in back of that, haven't you? If that turns up.
That's just what we want to try to do, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I prefer to be in car.
Excellent.
Right, you getting on your back now and going, or?
I'm just going to finish the drone shots. Literally just finish them off. Take it, right? Straight over top, downward shots, sideways pans, all kinds of stuff. Probably about 15 minutes worth of drone footage to do, and then that'll be it really, Brad.
Right. You don't always give your name, right?
Oh no, definitely not, no, thank you.
And I think the officer knew that was going to happen.
There you go, guys,
good
this guy knows a little bit more about policing than the PCSOs, which I'm not surprised about really. I mean, we're only trying the best out there.
Let me tell you what really annoyed me earlier about the PCSOs is the young lady kept very quiet, so we haven't heard a word from her. But when you've got a little bit of knowledge and you don't know the law completely, don't try and impose your personal interpretation of the law. It doesn't work. Especially when you're talking to people like us who know what goes on when the auditing process comes round. We know what we can and cannot do. We know how to push the boundaries. Some of us push them more, some of them push them less. It's just the way we operate. But at the end of the day, don't come trying to enforce a fake law with a fake legislation from a fake policeman. I think this is where he's telling them we can't do anything.
Looks like that's over now, the interaction with the police. What I'll do now is I'll finish the rest of the drone footage, we'll wrap it up, and then we'll do the end part.
Okay guys, so there we have Northern Audits sitting there and performing again. So once again, thanks very much for watching the video. I'm going to be doing lots more. Please hit the like and subscribe button so you keep up to date, and I'm going to be the auditor who audits the audits. Something like that. I'll get it right one day. Peace out, guys.